searching for an answer in my soul.
This program is part of the Scene Project's podcast network. The Scene Project features interviews with independent musicians, comedians, and artists from across the Midwest. Become part of our community and support local art wherever you are.
Today on Soul Impact, we welcome Steve Sxaks, a musician, a producer, and a co-founder of Marston House Record. Steve Sxaks turned sound into story from punk rock beginning to shape Philly's music scene. He is here to share how music saved his soul and continued to inspire others today. Let's welcome Steve Sxaks.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. Welcome to the show, buddy.
How you feeling, Willie?
I am feeling okay. Once I got over beating myself up.
I totally understand.
So a little bit about the podcast is a lot of what I've gone through as a child. I had a lot of child abuse. So I've dealt with that and at an early age, and music was what taught me how to properly feel with the bullcrap I'm dealing with.
Right.
So that's just kind of, and then I have a DJ business called Backwoods Production that I do on top of everything else. And I see a lot of artists that don't believe in themselves. So I wanted this to be a resource for people that, are just dealing with everyday life and struggle to believe in themselves. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and kind of what you got going on?
Yeah, so they call me Steve Sxaks, the man, the myth, the legend, the most beautiful man in the world. I go by many names. Some call me the Reed Richards of Philly hip hop. Many people might know me from Marston House Cyphers. I am the host. Or you might know me from catching one of my bands or catching me on tour. And recently, people might know me as the author of Invasion of the Punk Rockers Who Drink Blood. I usually have a copy on the desk, and I was going to show it, but it's not here. One of my kids probably took it and ran off with it. But yeah, so as a young man, I got into music, and I never really had anything else I cared about. It's helped me cope with so many different things throughout my life. Of generic stuff like my parents' divorce and, just different things throughout the years. And once I started making money at it, I just knew that there was nothing else for me to do. And fortunately, I've made a living off of it for the past 20 years now. So yeah, that's the shortest me there is, but whatever, I can give you the long-term answers if you'd like to, but I'll wait for the questions.
The thing about that is I never know what I'm going to ask, to be completely honest. Sometimes I script them out. Sometimes I don't. I do research a little bit.
I like that. It keeps me on my toes.
So can you tell us about your first experience with music and what kind of drew it to you? What drew you to it?
Yeah, I mean, my first experience in music, I mean, both my parents loved music. So as a kid, we always had music on. But the first thing that made me want to make music, I think, I knew I was going to be an entertainer in some fashion. I always liked to just entertain. And before I really got into music, I was doing like plays and whatnot early on. And then a couple of my friends, they had older brothers and sisters who are super into punk rock. And as soon as I discovered that, it was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I got a guitar. First, I actually got a bass, couldn't play it. And me and two of my other friends started a horrible band where none of us could play our instruments. We were called 3 PM. It stood for 3 Punk Musicians, and it was absolutely garbage. But it was a lot of fun. And, throughout the years, every year, I think each band got a little bit better until we got to the band that I'm named after, Sxaks. that was the first band that actually sounded decent. We started going to professional recording studios, not doing a tape deck in the bathroom across the hall from practice. And so actually getting some looks from, record labels and opening for a ton of different punk rock bands that were big at the time in the early 2000s. So, and then it just kept progressing from there. Even after that band was done, I couldn't shake the name. I was Steve Sxaks. Everybody just knew me as that. And then I started a band called Fruit Punch that just took off. We got signed to this label QCR, and they would fly us all over the place and have us perform everywhere. And that was like our first like major label experience. And then from there, it just kept progressing. I knew that being like a touring punk rock musician wasn't going to like put food on the table for the kids. So I decided I was going to start a recording studio. And so saved up a bunch of money from tour, started a recording studio with one of my best friends, Ethan, and been doing that ever since. And we started that thing, the Marston House Ciphers, and we had people from all over the world flying in. Australia, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Canada, London. People would fly in and all just rap together at our studio, and it just kind of became a big thing that I'll walk down the streets to this day and somebody will scream, "Let's go, guy," which is that thing came from the Ciphers. People just scream, "Let's go, guy" at me, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay." It's an interesting thing that's like what most people know me from, but I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way. It was awesome.
Well, see, that's why I said I never really know what I'm going to ask, because right there you answered the first two questions.
It's hard to get me shut up once I'm
going. No, don't apologize. That's what this is all about. This is getting to know you. Not to sound corny, but show people that Steve puts his pants on the same way everybody else does.
Oh, I do.
He jumps in them off the bed and both feet at the same time. No.
Like a paratrooper.
Parachutes into him. But so how has being in the military shaped your music?
Well, I mean, before the military, like if you listen to any of my old bands, especially Fruit Punch, very, very political. It'd probably shock anybody to see that I went into the military after that. But doing that experience definitely changed like what I thought about the military, because going in there, I just thought everybody was just like, just these ultra patriotic, like I want to join to kill people. That was my initial thought as a young teenager. And honestly, doing it, I met maybe one person like that my whole time. 12 years military service, and I've met one person, and that was in MEPS, and it was like, I'm joining to go kill people. I was like, oh, okay, well, nobody's talking to this guy anymore. But it really just changed my opinion on who were the type of people who would join the military. And I loved it too, honestly. It was such a great experience. Everybody's there trying to just live a better life and, get healthcare and pay for school and do better for their family. And it just, it did make me as a person more patriotic myself. Just like you have this brotherhood that you're fighting for. And, anywhere you go now, it's just, if you served and you see somebody else who served, there's just this instant connection. So that does affect my music, and maybe some of like my timing and different things are a little more regimented than they used to be. It's maybe a little less chaotic, but I am still just a chaos type individual. So maybe, I don't know. But yeah, that would be, I'd say, what it mostly did. It changed me fundamentally as a person, which if you change as a person, it will just change the music you're making too.
Oh yeah, it's about ever growing. I mean, I look to where when I first started DJing, I got into that, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm diehard country fan. I mean, old school country. I'm talking Waylon Jennings, Conway Twitty, Merle Haggard, Porter Wack, the list to go on. And my philosophy when I got into DJing was, I'm gonna make that kind of music great again.
Right.
So my first couple of gigs, probably, they brought me back. But when they brought me back, they're like, we need you to play modern stuff. not stuff from the 60s and 70s. And, we don't mind that music, but not everybody likes that kind of stuff.
Right. I mean, I love that kind of stuff. So it's it'd be awesome to hear that at a party one day, just DJ busting out the old school kind. But that's my grandpa. That's what all he listened to. So that and like Charlie Pride.
Oh yeah, I was raised on like classic country, and I'm calling it classic country because I think it's more pop country today than it is.
For sure.
But I mean, there's a few, and I'm glad to see. But it's with any genre. If you look at it, we really don't have a rock and roll kind of genre these days.
Every genre is pop at this point.
Well, not just that. Your classic rock has gone more to heavy metal than it did. You really don't have, compared to what we used to. I mean, they might be one or two or a couple, but you don't have the classic rock, Bob Seger, or even the hair bands of the 80s. We all love the good hair band,
Yeah, it's music's changed so much. Even from when I started, like there used to be a lot more definition in each genre, and it kind of kept things a little more separated. But with the internet, and now kids are getting exposed to stuff they never would have before, and it's just kind of now you can have the same chords be the same in a rock song, a pop song, a country song, and a hip hop song. And there's so much crossover now. There's so many like Shabuzi, he's touching every genre. And he's like one of the biggest guys out right now doing country, hip hop, pop, like whatever you want to call it. But it's what the kids are wanting to hear. So that's just, music kind of flows with what the younger consumers want, I guess.
I mean, they gave Beyonce a country song, so come on. I mean,
yeah, I mean, anybody can do it, I guess.
I'm old school. I'm old school though. I like that old school country feel.
No, I feel you. Like I said, I love like Charlie Pride. I love Johnny, Hank. I love Woody Guthrie. I like all that kind of stuff.
I love that era of music because to me, I think more hearts goes into it. A lot of artists nowadays, they push the music out, so they try to get out as much as they can. And to me, I think the iconic country, or not even country, that iconic decades of music.
Right.
I feel there was more heart into it. I mean,
I agree. Like I love stuff like Nina Simone. I love that same era of like garage rock stuff, the Animals, the Sonics, all that stuff. Like, so there was a ton of music at that time that was just so odd. But you got to think like that's what everybody else built off of. This is the building blocks of like every genre of music. So everything evolves. And I tell like because I also teach engineering and production. So I tell people all the time, if you want to stay relevant as an engineer or a producer as a career, you kind of have to evolve with what's going on, or pick a new job.
So you teach that stuff. Where do you teach that kind of stuff at?
Well, I used to be at a school called Workshop Houston, which is in Texas. It's an awesome school. It's a nonprofit school that does middle and high school. I taught the class called the Beat Shop. So it's all audio production. We did recording, digital audio, just everything. I taught them how to make beats, how to play drums, how to record drums, all that stuff. Super, super great program. And then we also teach various colleges. I've done Florida State University. I've done Rice University, just doing like speaking engagements or longer term things at the studio. We have a project we've been doing with Philadelphia Community College, where they'll send their kids to us for their senior projects, and we'll have like 5 or 6 of them. So we just got done with a big group of those guys, and now some of them are working at the studio, and some of them realize it's a harder job than they thought. So it's
listen. I may need to get up with you because I could use some pointers.
Yeah, for sure.
So how do you approach producing someone else's music for do you have to have a mindset going into that, or
It can be hard. You know, really it's the same thing I tell everybody. When you're doing other people's music, you have to kill your ego, because you're listening to somebody's stuff, and as a musician, you're always thinking you can do it better. You're always like, oh, well, this is how I would do it. You know, when you're recording somebody or producing their music, you're the captain of a session, and you have to earn their trust. Like, they want to trust you. So if you have information delivered to them, you got to figure out how that specific person is going to take this information to make their product better without them being offended that you want them to do it differently. So it's a lot of like navigating how people are. But if you come into it with a big ego, I've seen engineers fail even at my studio, where they'll be working with an artist and the artist will play the beat that they want to use, and then the engineer will just start rapping to it or singing to it. And it's like, I don't want to work with this guy anymore. I've had to like pull people off the sessions because that's a true story that's happened a couple times. So it's like, you got to kill your ego. And as somebody who's a musician first and then a producer, it can be hard. But once you learn to do that, it's not too bad. So it's just getting in the right mindset, kind of killing that ego, and just sitting down, locking in, and giving them what they want is the best way to try to work with somebody else.
Oh yeah, see, I've always wanted to go that revenue, and one day I will. I'm actually in college for it.
Where are you going?
For Full Sail University.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've had a lot of students from Full Sail.
I've been a passion of mine for a long time. I've had my DJ business going on 5 years, so something I've always wanted to do. I probably will never change the name, and it'll probably always be the same. So yeah, I think that's really great to hear that you were teaching that kind of stuff to people that don't necessarily have the knowledge. And, you know, I think even as someone that's not a musician, because I am not musically inclined by any means, but I do a lot of festivals, and I hear a lot of artists that I was like, I have to swallow my pride too, because I'm like, oh, this isn't my kind of music. This would be better if they did it this way.
Right. Well, don't sell yourself short, because DJing is being a musician, especially if you're using turntables, or even if you're not.
I don't use a turntable. I use a laptop. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not.
Okay, well, even if you're just putting music together, just knowing and having the stuff that'll make the people want to listen is a great thing. But I mean, serious turntablists, I've tried to do it. It's very hard, and I can play almost any instrument, and that's a beast right there. So I DJs get a lot of credit for me. I think they're just as important as anybody else.
Yeah, I would love to learn a turntable, but honestly, I'm too busy. I mean,
Right.
To be frank, I'm a single parent, and I've got so much on my plate, and some of it I put on there myself.
Understand.
So when you create your own music,
Okay.
what's your creative process?
So, I mean, my own music, I always say I wish I could take my advice that I give to other artists. Like, I've managed, one of my artists right now is on tour in Amsterdam. He's good at taking my advice. But for me, I guess because I've been working with other people so much for the last 20 years that I just like, I don't know. I'm very stubborn. I'm the kind of guy who I complain about when I work with the kind of guy like me. But my creative process really just depends. Like I usually I'm a like fly by the seat of my pants, off the cuff kind of guy. So if I have an idea for something, if I get a melody in my head, I'll start humming it, and if I really like it, I'll do it into my phone. And then when I get home, I'll bust out a guitar or whatever and start going to town on it. If I'm with other people, you know, if I'm doing like a collaborative thing where maybe I'm making the beat, or somebody else sent me a beat or something, or somebody else wants me to sing on something. And because I've done writing for people, that was like a big thing for a while. It kind of got burned on it, but so yeah, if it's that kind of stuff, it's easier for me to like lock in. It's like, all right, I got to check here. I got to write this guy's song. So my creative process is just sit down and do it. But if it's like my music, you know, I've had like, even though I just dropped a couple albums, since my books come out, I've dropped a couple projects, but I have like 4 more in the tuck that I just can't seem to get the mental energy to just sit down and finish. So yeah, I mean, I'm just all over the place. It makes it hard, but yeah, my creative process is just, if I get an idea, go with it. Don't try to force it. If I force it, it's never going to happen.
So can you name a moment in your life or not in your life, in your career, where music has truly changed the trajectory at where you were going in your life?
Yeah, I mean, there's probably 1,000 of them, honestly, but if just sticking in the theme here, I guess I'll talk about something with the ciphers. We've had
It don't have to just be music related. It can be anything.
No, there's so many music ones. I'm trying to figure out where the right one is. I mean, the first time I'll say, like, when Fruit Punch was still together and let's talk about our reunion show, because that was just incredible. We had been broken up for a few years. This is 2013. We got asked to do this big reunion show at the First Unitarian Church in Philadelphia, and we opened for this really big band, and it was just packed. It was packed, and we had so many kids there just coming up and telling us how our music gave them hope, and just wanting our stuff. We used to have these stencils at our shows that we would spray paint on people's shirts for $5, and we'd have the line out the door. And at that show, it was like no different. It's been years since we've been a band. We broke up in 2009, and 5 years later, we have a line out the door of people getting stencils on their shirts. And that changed just how it might have been a down period for me. And literally right after that happened, because of it, I had the will to go on a huge solo tour with a couple of my friends. And it definitely changed the trajectory. Just seeing that after all these years, people still cared about the music, and maybe somebody would care about my new stuff.
Right on. I'm glad to hear that you found that motivation to keep going. Because sometimes, even as a DJ, sometimes that motivation kind of gets buried a little bit.
It can, for sure.
So I'm going to ask you 2 different questions. They're the same but different.
Okay.
So how has music saved you personally, and how have music saved you professionally?
Personally, even now, if I don't have the time to create, I love my kids more than anything. I start just moping around the house and being a big baby. So it constantly saves me. Just having that outlet. If I'm frustrated with something in society, if I'm frustrated with something that I did, if I'm frustrated with something that my wife did, if I'm frustrated at anything, it's like I can do it, put it in a song. If I'm happy with something, if I'm feeling good or terrible or whatever, like anything that you're feeling, just putting it into a song, it just makes it like, it's like self-validation, I guess. Now, professionally, there's been so many times where I've wanted to stop doing certain things, even like the ciphers. The ciphers, we have a couple million views. We have 800 cipher videos out on our YouTube channel, Marston House Ciphers YouTube channel. And it's like, there was a period where it just felt like work. It wasn't fun anymore. When we started, it was very fun. We weren't like planning to make money on it or for it to be as big as it was. It was just something to do for fun. And then at the height of it, it just like felt like, all right, now this is like a job, and it kind of lost the soul. And I think the audience could tell that too. So there was so many times we wanted to stop doing that. And finally we did for a while, and I hadn't logged in our YouTube. And when I did, there was like 1,000 comments, just like, when are you bringing these back? Please bring the ciphers back and all this. And so we did. We ended up bringing them back like a couple years after we did our last one. We brought them back, and picked up kind of like right where we left off. And it was a great, it felt fun again. It didn't have that same like just drag kind of a feeling, even though it's not as big as it was at its height. Every video is not getting 100,000 views anymore, but it still felt very just like, it felt like a return to earth or something. You know what I mean? Just like nice to get back to doing what you love to do. So yeah, I'd say that was a saving moment.
So, yeah, music is so important. You never know what you're going to get out of a song.
Right.
And what you get out of the song may not be the same message you get out of the song tomorrow. That message is ever changing.
It's true.
So, what's the most powerful story you've witnessed through music for yourself or someone else?
The most powerful story? I mean, I couldn't tell you just on my own how many times I've, wrestled with suicide just on my own, and getting. But one of the big reasons I hadn't pulled the trigger on it finally was, I'd never put this album out. That's something that motivates me all the time, is like, when I leave this earth, I will not feel like I finished unless everything is out of my head. It's like I have all these half recorded things. And then so anytime I get to that super just like depressed, like suicidal ideation feeling, I'm like, all right, well, I got to at least finish this one thing. So I know it sounds like a joke, but it is serious. So, I mean, I just think it's powerful in that way. I've seen it with myself. I've seen it with so many other people that it's like music will legitimately keep you alive. I could tell so many different stories about it, of kids telling me like, our band gave them hope. And unfortunately I have lots of friends who have taken their life, other artists and people in the military that I've served with. And, when I'm thinking about their stories, it kind of just motivates me even more to not ever go down that route. You know what I mean? Like, just people that I've known through the music and through the military, and just, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard. I get a little choked up talking about their stuff, but yeah, it keeps me going. We'll just leave it there. Just keeps me going.
All right, give me 1 second. I gotta run inside for a moment.
Oh, you're good, man. I don't know if we're live or not, but I'll just keep talking. But yeah, shout out to my brother Rich Quick, the Everywhere Man. Unfortunately, no longer with us, but incredible artist, was a legitimate brother to me. His music touched people all over the world, and that's a huge motivator for me. I think I wrote one of my best songs ever when he ended up leaving us, but yeah. Another one, Draper. Shout out to Draper. Shout out to my brother Levi Brenniger. Also, two more great people no longer here. Just the music unites us. I could just tell you guys some stories. Maybe that's the best route. I'm not sure. But, I'm here to pitch my book. So, let's talk about that. Where did the other copy of it go? Oh, here it is. Invasion of the Punk Rockers. Who Drink Blood? This was the advanced reader copy, but give it a look there. I'm just over here telling stories.
All right, listen, I do apologize. I did
Yeah,
not realize the time. I am going to have to wrap this up. I got to go pick up
Yeah,
my daughter.
let's wrap it up, man.
So why don't you tell everybody real quick where they can find you? And
Yeah. Just look me up. You can Google Steve Sxaks, Sxaks. You can go to my website, letsgoguy.com. I'm at Steve Sxaks on everything, or you can go look up the book Invasion of the Punk Rockers Who Drink Blood. It's available everywhere. I'd prefer if you bought it on Amazon. Help me beat the algorithm. And yeah, that's me. Find me. I'll talk to you.
well, buddy, thank you again. I really enjoyed this conversation. We'll definitely look forward to more conversations with you.
For sure.
And remember, guys, until next time, remember to love one another, and you are loved.
Peace.